In the quiet of the Oregon countryside, an unexpected discovery shattered the stillness. The body of 27-year-old Meighan Cordie was found down a steep embankment near Dayton, a chilling scene that raised more questions than it provided answers. The trail of clues was as winding and confusing as the rural roads that crisscrossed the landscape. Investigators followed every lead, piecing together a narrative that seemed to defy logic at every turn. 9 miles separated the point where Cordie was said to have left the car from where her lifeless body was found. The distance alone was enough to raise eyebrows, but the peculiarities of this case did not end there. 2 days prior, her mother had reported Cordie missing. She claimed her daughter had exited the car they were travelling in, leaving behind not only her cell phone, but also her shoes and her 3-year-old daughter. But who would want to hurt Meighan Cordie? How did she end up dead on the side of the road?
Ian Holt Communications.
Hi, is this a number I call for a non-emergency?
This is the dispatch center non-emergency number. How can I help you?
I'm sorry. My daughter has been missing since last night, and I'm getting kind of worried because she's supposed to work in 10 minutes, and I haven't heard anything from her. We were at a wedding, and she was upset and got out of the car, and I haven't heard from her since, and I haven't been able to find her. I drove around for 2 hours this morning looking for where she got out of the car, and so I don't know if I should call 911 or if I have to wait a certain amount of time.
No, there's never a certain amount of time that you have to wait.
Okay.
Do you want to report her as missing?
Yeah, I think so.
Where was she missing from?
I've checked the hospitals and I've checked the jails, and she's not in either one of those. So the wedding was at Heiser Farm in Dayton, Oregon.
And what is your name?
My name is Jennifer Weathers.
And what is her name?
Meighan, M-E-I-G-H-A-N, Cordie, C-O-R-D-I-E.
You know what she was wearing?
She was wearing I want to say it was floral pantsuit. It was one piece, short sleeve, navy blue with flowers on it. And she doesn't have her phone. She didn't have her phone. She left it in my car. She didn't have her wallet. Everything was in my car.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have someone get in contact with you, okay?
What could possibly make a jovial wedding celebration spiral into a heart-wrenching disappearance? On the 18th of August, 2018, Cordie and her young daughter found themselves in such a situation, enveloped in the mystery of rural Yamhill County. The day started off as one of celebration. Cordie, her daughter, and her mother, Jennifer Weathers, were attending a friend's wedding at Heiser Farms, south of Dayton. As the day wore on, wine flowed and the dance floor filled. Yet, as the hours passed, 3 guests took note of Weathers' state, describing her as too intoxicated to drive. Weathers, however, refuted these claims, insisting that she was sober enough to be behind the wheel. As the night grew darker, Cordie expressed a desire to leave the reception. Her daughter was growing tired, and it was time to head home. This sparked a disagreement between Cordie and Weathers about who should drive. Cordie, having consumed alcohol and having a breathalyzer ignition lock on her vehicle due to a previous DUI, did not want to drive. Weathers, on the other hand, was upset about having to leave the wedding prematurely. As they drove away, the argument escalated. Cordie, desperate to leave the car, called her boyfriend for a ride. He, however, refused, citing work commitments the next morning. As the car slowed to a crawl, Cordie, her patience worn thin, jumped out of the moving vehicle, leaving Weathers and her daughter behind. Cordie, a young mother who was known for her love for her daughter, had seemingly abandoned everything in a moment of inexplicable haste. Her belongings, her child, her shoes, all left in the car as she ventured out into the night. It's certainly understandable why investigators might question the delay in reporting the daughter missing and the apparent lack of urgency from the mother's initial call. Typically, a parent would consider their child going missing as an emergency and would report it to authorities immediately. The fact that the mother waited until the next day raises concerns about her priorities and actions in response to her daughter's disappearance. Overall, the delay in reporting the daughter missing and the mother's apparent lack of urgency would indeed raise red flags for investigators and prompt a more intensive investigation into the mother's actions and potential involvement in her daughter's disappearance.
Yeah, we were in the car.
Okay. And then it got heated in the car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did it ever get physical in the car?
She pulled my hair.
Okay. How far from the venue were you, or was it still at the venue?
No, it was right before she got out of the car. We'd already started driving, and she was yelling at me. And she just yanked my head back. And I slammed on the brakes. And then I yelled at her, "What are you doing? Gia's in the car." Reached back and hit her arm. Travis to hit her arm. Just trying to make her let go of my hair. And when she finally let go of my hair, I started slowing the car down, which is when she started opening the door and saying, "I'm going to get out." Oh, first she had called her boyfriend.
You hit her in the arm how many times?
Oh, I don't know. I just reached back until she let go of my hair.
Okay.
I don't
Are
know.
you sure that you were hitting her arm?
No.
You were just hitting something?
I was just reaching back and...
Okay.
I mean, it had to have been her arm because she would have been like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm assuming it was her arm.
Okay.
Yeah, but she called her boyfriend first and wanted him to come get her.
What's
And
his
that
name?
was before she pulled my hair. His
Okay.
name is Brendan. She calls him Burr. That's his nickname, B-U-R.
Okay, but he couldn't come get her.
Uh-uh.
Brendan, you say?
Brendan.
Last name?
Vincent.
Okay. Why couldn't Brendan come get her?
I think he just didn't want to.
Okay.
Well, and he had to work at 4 o'clock the next morning, so that's probably why.
Where does he work?
Fred Meyer in Wilsonville.
Alright. So, is this cursing back and forth at one another and really getting ugly like that? I mean,
Are you asking me? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she called him
you know, I want you to come get me, I want you to come get me, and he must have said no. And then,
Whose phone is she calling with?
hers.
Okay.
And then,
And this is when she pulls your hair not too long after that?
yeah.
What predicated that?
Who knows? I have no idea.
Were you guys in the middle of yelling at one another and she pulls your hair?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. I mean, usually there's something like that. Like
Well,
somebody
yeah.
says something
Well,
that, like,
I mean,
you know,
yeah.
if you were back to, like, you know, the silent treatment, like not talking to one another, then it would be, you know, it wouldn't seem like it would be.
Oh, right, like not talking, and all of a sudden she just reached up. Oh, no, yeah, we were still arguing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so then,
The autopsy report added another layer of mystery.
Using
The cause of death was said to be blunt force trauma. But how did Cordie come to be where she was found? Why did she leave the car that night?
Okay.
And how did she travel those 9 miles without her shoes?
Okay.
As the investigation progressed, the details of Cordie's case continued to confound. The strange circumstances of her death remained a haunting puzzle, a series of disconnected dots that investigators struggled to connect. The story of a young woman who left her life behind one night, only to be found dead 2 days later,
Trying to get her to let go of my hair.
echoed with
She's
a
trying to
chilling
let go of my hair. I
resonance.
start slowing the car down. She's like, I'm going to get out. And I'm like, you're not getting out. The car, you're not getting out of the car. And I was almost to a stop. And she started opening the door, which is why I was slowing down. And I was almost to a stop, and she just opened it and jumped out. So then I stopped the car and got out and walked around it, closed her door that she had jumped out of, and I was looking for her. I couldn't see her anywhere. I'm calling her name, and she's not answering me. I can't leave the car because Gia's in it. So I'm just calling her name, get back in the car, and I can't see her anywhere. So I got back in the car and turned it around because I figured with the direction she jumped out, she'd be heading the opposite way. So I got back in the car and turned around and tried to find her with the headlights. I had the windows rolled down, and I'm just calling her name, calling her name, calling her name. And she's just not answering. And I couldn't see anything.
How fast do you think you were going when she jumped out?
Oh, I mean, like, literally I was almost to a stop.
Okay. Like less than 5 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because as soon as she started saying she was going to get out and started messing with the door handle, I started coming to a stop.
How long after she jumped out were you out of the car going around the back of it?
I mean, not that long. I mean, she jumped out, I stopped the car, put it in park, and got out.
So a matter of seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't call anybody or anything like that?
No, I got right out of the car.
Okay. And you couldn't see her?
Mm-mm.
Did you hear anything when she jumped?
Mm-mm.
You didn't hear an ouch or anything like that?
No. Mm-mm.
How long after she jumped out were you out of the car going around the back of it?
I mean, not that long. I mean, she jumped out. I stopped the car, put it in park, and got out.
So a matter of seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't call anybody or anything like
No,
that?
no. I got right out of the car.
Okay. And you couldn't see her?
Mm-mm.
Did you hear anything when she jumped?
Mm-mm.
You didn't hear an ouch or anything
No.
like that?
No. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Then you went back to the car, turned around,
Mm-hmm.
headed back towards the farm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the child doing?
I don't know. Crying, I would imagine.
Okay.
I was just so focused on trying to find Meighan, and I just am calling her name and looking out the window and trying to hear her. So I drove back and forth, I don't know, probably for about a half an hour, trying to find her. I called Burr at some point, but he didn't answer his phone. And then Gia was crying. Oh my God, I can't believe she was there for all of that. Oh my gosh.
Is this normal for Meighan to flip out like this?
Not so much recently. I mean, back in the day when I first got divorced and got remarried, it was.
So how would she have been then?
She was, she's 27 now, that was 2006.
Okay.
Jacob was 10, so she was probably 13, 14, maybe 14 when we actually finally were divorced. 15 maybe by the time Ty and I got married.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and yeah. She was not happy about any of the situations.
Okay. So you drive back and forth for about half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You never see her?
Mm-mm. Never saw her.
Did you hear her?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
And then what'd you do?
And then Gia was crying, and I said, I gotta go home. I gotta take her home.
Okay. What was Gia saying?
Just leave her, Nana.
Okay. All right.
And then we went home.
Went back to King City?
Mm-hmm.
Did you try and call her?
Try and call Meighan?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. No, I did not.
Why not?
I don't know. It didn't even occur to me to try and call her.
Okay.
I was more worried about Gia and getting Gia home. at that point, Meighan wasn't my focus, Gia was. So I just drove home and I took her upstairs and put her in bed.
Had Meighan done this kind of stuff in the past?
What kind of stuff?
Jump out of your car?
She'd never actually done it, but yeah, she's threatened to before.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Okay. So, what time do you think you got home?
I don't know, probably almost midnight by the time I got home.
Okay.
Around midnight. And then I woke up at about 5:30.
Went right to bed?
Mhm.
Gia go right to bed?
Yeah, she was conked by the time we got home.
She was already asleep in the car. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, any more drinking or anything that night for you?
No. Definitely.
Muscle relaxers, anything?
No.
Okay.
No. No, I was so tired already. I was exhausted. I didn't take my makeup off or anything. I never do that. I didn't take my contacts out.
Okay.
I just got in bed with Gia because she was asleep. And I just crawled in with her and cuddled her.
Okay. Did that surprise you that Meighan was acting the way she was acting in front of her daughter?
In front of her daughter, yeah. And that she wouldn't stop.
Okay.
It definitely surprised me. I mean, she hasn't done anything like that before.
No?
No. No. I mean, not in front of Gia.
Okay.
No.
She's acted out of control in the past, but not in front of Gia.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah.
So,
That's why I ended up thinking she'd had more to drink than we thought.
okay.
You know, because it was just so out of control. And Burr said the same thing when he talked to her. You know, she was just... But, I mean, yeah, she's been like that in the past, but, you know, never... Most of that was pre-Gia.
Mm-hmm.
And usually in text.
Mm.
You know, she likes... She's an angry texter. An instant angry texter.
What kind of stuff sets her off?
Me. Anything I do. You know, she'd done it to me a few weeks ago when I stopped by to pick up Gia while she was at work. I met her at her work and picked her up. And
Where does she work?
Blue Mercury at Bridgeport.
What is that?
It's a cosmetic store with aesthetic services.
Okay.
She's an esthetician.
Uh-huh. You'd stop by to pick up
I picked
Gia.
up Gia and asked her what time she was going to be done with work, and she said 5:30, and I thought, you know, you had told me 5 before, and she was like, yeah, I thought it was 5, but it was 5:30, and I just kind of rolled my eyes, because she does that a lot, like, just doesn't know her schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what? And I'm like, well, I just don't understand how you never know your schedule. Like, you're 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not know whether you get off at 5 or 5:30?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that was it. And then I go home, and the text messages start. And it's just, you know, she can take one little comment and just really run with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we hadn't had a fight like that for a really long time.
Not a physical fight?
No, yeah.
When was the last time you had a physical fight with her? Prior to Saturday?
Oh, years. I mean, when she was a teenager, she used to... act like she did that night.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that hadn't happened for a really long time.
Okay. So you go to sleep with Gia, and then what?
And I woke up at about 5:30
On Sunday.
on Sunday because the sun was coming out, and I got up and I got dressed and grabbed Gia and went out to look for Meighan.
You didn't call her first?
No. No, I had her phone. She had left her phone in the car.
When did you figure that out?
When I took Gia out of the back seat, I saw it on the floor.
Breaking news we're following out of Yamhill County tonight. A body believed to be that of a missing mother has been found 5 days after she disappeared.
Now, that body was found down an embankment near Dayton, several miles from where she disappeared after a wedding. Our Lisa Balick live on the scene now in Yamhill County where that body was discovered. What can you tell us, Lisa?
Well, just a few minutes ago, a vehicle pulled up. I'll step out of the way. It's the Oregon State Police crash reconstruction team. Now, I asked what's happening, and they say, look, we don't know if there was a crash here or not, but they come in and they investigate. They will also be using a drone to map the area where Meighan was found. Her family says the pain is unimaginable after learning that her body was found here. Meighan Cordie was a mom, a daughter, who lived in Clackamas. She disappeared into the dark Saturday night after attending a wedding in Dayton nearby at Heiser Farms. We're told she suddenly got out of her mother's car after a disagreement. She was not far from the farm. She was barefoot, and she had left her cell phone behind. There was an extensive search in that area for several days by friends, family, law enforcement. Then the search called off. This morning around 10, Meighan's body was discovered here, down below the ramp that connects Oregon 18 and 221 here near Dayton.
There were 3 joggers coming up the road behind me here who saw the body down off the embankment. A truck driver came by. The 3 female joggers appeared kind of panicked. He stopped to see if they were okay. They pointed it out. He went down the hillside, confirmed that what they were seeing was a deceased person.
Now, detectives and the Oregon State Crime Lab arrived. Fire crews brought her body up from the steep hillside. She was about 20 feet down in brush. Law officers say they cannot rule in or out foul play at this moment. They will wait for autopsy results, likely tomorrow, that will determine the cause and manner of her death. Now, police have not issued any kind of warning to the public at this point since they don't know yet how she died. Now, again, keep in mind there are a lot of questions here. She was found in the brush. She was barefoot, and this area is again about 8 to 10 miles away from where she disappeared into the dark. Again, we have the state police teams that are here. They're going to be flying a drone shortly to map the area in this whole area, which is a very wooded hillside area just past the guardrail where she was found. We'll keep you posted as to what they find. Live in Dayton, Lisa Balick, KOIN 6 News.
Okay, Lisa Balick on the scene with investigators, and we have team coverage on this breaking news.
A family spokesman just spoke about the end in this search for her, and our Cole Miller is live with what they had to say tonight. Cole?
Well, Jennifer, Jeff, Lisa touched on it there just briefly. I'll reiterate it one more time. The family describing this as unimaginable. Now, that spokesman that we had a chance to speak with said the past few days have also shown the best in people, thanking all of the volunteers who came out here and spent their time searching for her. Now, it's unclear just where Cordie traveled after getting out of that car Saturday. The family spokesman says that's all going to be part of this investigation. He says in the days this search played out, hundreds of people came out to look for her, including firefighters from agencies all across the state. Cordie's father is a firefighter with Clackamas Fire. The family, of course, is still trying to come to grips with today's news.
It's so incredibly shocking, and I think they would probably relay that this has been a blur, and I don't know that they can really process all that information at this point. It's hard to know if it does provide closure or not. It is so fresh, it is so raw that it's hard to know.
In all, we're told those who came out to search covered nearly 6,000 acres. The family at this time continues to ask for privacy.
Even though we may never know the truth concerning Cordie's death, an autopsy by the Oregon State Medical Examiner's Office told a story significantly different from the one Weathers told detectives. Meighan's feet didn't show signs of having walked 9 miles without shoes. Examiners ruled she had died from blunt force trauma. 2 of her vertebrae were broken and she suffered head trauma. Her mom was only charged with driving under the influence and reckless endangerment and was sentenced to 5 days in jail with 3 years probation. Anton Stanley Cordie, the father of Meighan Cordie, is suing his ex-wife, Jennifer Jaeger, formerly Jennifer Weathers, for $500,000. The wrongful death lawsuit was filed by Tony Cordie, Meighan's father, who divorced Jaeger in 2005 and now acts as the personal representative for Meighan's estate. While the death was ruled an accident, Jaeger was not forthcoming about the circumstances, leading to her DUI conviction and a guilty plea. The lawsuit accuses Jaeger of negligently causing Meighan's death through intoxication, failure to stop or slow down the vehicle, speeding, and failing to aid Meighan after she left the vehicle, as well as misleading authorities. The lawsuit seeks $500,000 for emotional distress and loss of companionship.